Chapter 1. Arrival of the Void. Kael Taris, known throughout the galaxy as the Void, lands on the abandoned planet Kselos. The air is thick with the metallic scent of perpetual storm clouds swirling in the sky. Jagged mountains, resembling obsidian shards, rise above the barren land, casting long, ominous shadows across the landscape. His ship, the Phantom, stands majestically against the backdrop as Kael steps out, clad in high-tech assassin gear. Every movement is meticulously calculated, each step silent as he begins his mission to track down the traitor General Laen. Surveying the desolate terrain, Kael recalls the dark moments of his past: betrayal, blood, and loss. But his mind sharpens as he senses the first traces of his target's presence. With cold determination, he ventures into the hostile desert, knowing that soon this lifeless planet will become the stage for a deadly confrontation. Chapter 2. Awakening the Enemy. On the surface of Kselos, Kael discovers traces of General Laen's presence, indicating that he is nearby. Inside an old, abandoned complex built long before the war, Kael finds extensive documents and blueprints revealing Laen's plan to activate an ancient weapon capable of destroying the planet. Realizing he has little time to stop Laen, Kael's trail leads him through the ruins of ancient cities, filled with traps and ambushes. Laen, now a rebel leader, has set a trap and prepares for a decisive confrontation. Kael navigates the ruins, making every decision under threat. Chapter 3. Observation and Strategy. Kael uses his cloaking ability and specialized equipment to monitor enemy activity. He discovers that General Laen plans to use the old weapon as leverage in his political games. Kael devises his strategy based on the gathered intel, knowing that his actions must be swift and precise. In this chapter, we see Kael working on creating a plan to avoid direct combat and minimize damage. He examines Laen's weaknesses and finds a way to neutralize him before he can launch the weapon. Chapter 4. Chase through the Wastes. The chase for Laen intensifies as Kael races across the obsidian wastes, a vast, lifeless expanse filled with sharp rocks and twisted metal ruins of forgotten battles. Laen's forces have deployed a squadron of drones, mechanical sentinels designed to track and neutralize targets in these harsh conditions. Kael knows he is outnumbered and outgunned, but he is no stranger to impossible odds. Activating his cloaking device, Kael nearly disappears into the surroundings, speeding across the shifting sands. Red scanner beams of the drones sweep the terrain behind him. His heart pounds, but his mind remains cold and calculating. In the distance, a flash of light erupts, a detonation. Laen's forces are closing in, and Kael realizes he has almost no time left. Dodging between sharp rocks, he gains a tactical advantage. The chase continues, but the Void is not easily caught. Chapter 5. Direct Confrontation. After evading pursuit, Kael encounters a group of Laen's mercenaries guarding a strategically important position. In this chapter, Kael engages in fierce battles, his skills and instincts tested to their limits. He uses his knowledge of Laen's technology to set traps and outmaneuver enemy forces. The fights take place in the most inaccessible parts of the complex, where Kael's energy and endurance become crucial. Each strike and dodge brings him closer to a direct confrontation with the General. Chapter 6. Harmony of Conflict. When Kael finally confronts General Laen, they face each other in an ancient underground complex filled with the energy of the old weapon. Laen, still committed to his cause, intends to activate the weapon and use it to further his plans. Kael knows that his last chance to stop him is a direct confrontation. They battle through the maze-like corridors, filled with dangers and traps. Laen shows his true power, using every advantage he has. Kael relies on his skills and strategy to gain the upper hand. This fight will be decisive for both sides. Chapter 7. Clash at the Core. Finally, Kael reaches the site of the quantum core, an ancient weapon hidden deep within the desert. The massive structure hums with accumulated energy, faintly glowing against the starry sky. Before this monumental weapon stands General Laen, his former commander now turned bitter enemy. For a moment, they exchange stares, knowing this battle will be their last. Laen draws his blaster, and Kael reveals his energy blade, glowing a brilliant blue. As they clash, sparks fly through the air. Laen's strength and fury compete with Kael's cold precision. Every strike of Kael's blade is calculated, but Laen's power forces him to retreat, relying on agility. Meanwhile, the quantum core begins to emit a louder hum, accumulating energy and nearing activation. Both warriors realize that if it activates, entire star systems could be destroyed. Kael must stop Laen, but the cost may be too